I'm recording again. And I think I started recording at just the right time. Actually, that reminds me. I forgot that you were involved with the pro wrestling podcast for a little bit, right? Or was it
it only lasted like 3 episodes.
Or was it a fighting game podcast?
Well, we had a pro wrestling podcast for like 3 episodes in 2013, and then we did have a fighting game podcast for about 2 years.
Oh, okay.
I want to say, like, man, I don't even remember. It's probably around the same time.
I don't know if you
I think our most watched episode on like our fighting game one was like 10,000 people, 10,000 views on YouTube.
Damn, that's really good.
That's like the most. I have no idea why that episode like blew up. Like, I don't know if it got featured on like a fighting game site or something, but yeah, that one has like 10,000, and like all the rest of our shows have like about 100 to 200.
Dang, gnarly. That's kind of funny. That 10,000 views. I mean, I'm sure that is maybe more, like, if you added up all the views the Fight Plug has on all its videos, yeah. I bet it's still like like 20 times that much. Yeah. Like what we have.
And the funny thing is, that's like not even the most watched video on our channel still, because we have some like Evo footage like before Street Fighter 5 came out.
Oh, okay.
Like when it was just announced and everything, and like we have a bunch of footage on there that got like hella views. Right. At the time, it was like brand new, so it has like 12 or 13,000.
So I legitimately forgot. I remember I listened to like an episode or two of the video game one that you were on, or I shouldn't say video game one, the fighting game one that you were on back in the day, and now today, like getting into our WMMA podcast, I was going into this with the mentality that like, oh yeah, I got Mike to take the dive and get and try podcasting, but it's not true at all. You've actually done this before and you've given it a shot. So who produced those podcasts? Were you just on mic, or were you responsible for like recording those podcasts or
oh no, I was just kind of like this. It was just basically on mic. It was what, 1, 2, I think 5 of us.
Oh wow.
My buddy Jared was the one that pretty much recorded everything, and then it was me, our buddy Nick, our buddy JR, I want to say. I think he was on the show. I'm kind of confusing like who was on the show. And I forgot who else. There was like a pretty good crew of us, and I think it also kind of helped us that Mikey, and shout outs to him, still one of the best players in the world. So having him on our show with that kind of like credential of having like one of the best players in the world on your show, I think like really helped the show too. So because when it came down to like advanced stuff, or kind of really breaking things down, or certain situations or aspects of the game, like you had someone that's that's been to Capcom Cup and all these other massive tournaments playing for millions of dollars or so.
Wow. Yeah,
it was we had a good setup, and
yeah, that definitely lends credibility to it for sure. I mean, not that people can't just. I think even if nobody was like a known or notable player, or kind of playing at that level, you could still. There's still a lot to chew. If you're going to talk about like just the fighting game scene culture and stuff like that. Like I could still see how there's a lot to talk about there.
Yeah, because ours was like, because there's definitely a lot of guys like now that they're not the best player in the world, but they're successful, FGC creators.
FGC, that's the
and they do fantastic content. But like, they do tutorials and stuff. But when we were doing our show, we would actually like we'd have people like send in matches and stuff, and then like we would play him over, and he would like break down like the situations. I'm like, okay, right here,
Ooh.
like why did you, you have the life lead here, this guy's right here, and you have like 2 meters. Why did you burn your meters right here to get nothing? Like, you had the lead, you should sit on it and save it.
Yeah.
And this stuff like that. Like send in matches and break them down and be like, okay, how could I improve?
That's really sick. That's deeper than I ever would have thought. That other people were going with like other people's matches and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is dependent on the show too. Like sometimes we'd have breakdowns. Sometimes we would have like kind of like tutorials, like how to properly use training mode. What's the best kind of character archetype for, say you want to pick somebody if you're new to the game. And then other times it would just be like tournament breakdowns, like, oh, there's a major tournament this weekend, or we went to this major tournament this weekend and this is what happened, or it's stuff like that.
Now five people, that's a whole ass panel, dude. Did you guys always record that in person with everybody in the same room?
No, that was always, everything was at the time over Skype.
Okay, so it was all remote, and that was even before the pandemic too. So
yeah, this was Street Fighter 4 days. So like I said, it's like 2011, 2012.
Oh, much before. Okay, yeah. I totally lost track of how far back it was. I mean, I knew it was definitively before the pandemic, but that was
we
farther
essentially
back than I
stopped the
thought.
podcast right when I moved to Korea, like right around there. And then a couple of the other guys, even though it was remote, a couple of other guys moved to NorCal. And so like we just kind of stopped doing it. We've always talked about like kind of bringing it back just to see kind of where it goes, but we'll see. The
remote podcast, man, that is more innovative than a lot of people would probably give you guys credit for, because there wasn't a lot of podcasts. Oh, for one, that kind of kept a lot of people out of that kept a lot of people from dipping their toe into getting into podcasting, because they thought, well, I can't get together, and me and the person that we want to podcast, it's not convenient, or and I think that was a lot really undersold, that people could just record their Google Meet or Zoom conversations or Skype conversations. Yeah. Well, and a lot of people didn't realize that until the pandemic, until they had to do it. A lot of people running like big podcast operations were like, oh, we could have just put out the exact same content and just did it from home. Yeah. Because too, like, we did our pro wrestling one, even though it was short. Like, I was living in Korea at the time. Like, I was recording that in Korea. So, yeah, like I said, it's all over Skype. So I've never actually done an in-person podcast. So I've never, everything I've always done has always been online. So. Excuse me. Before this, I'd only ever really known in-person podcasts with Spanspec, and I had been trying to. I'm a little inside baseball, but I've tried to pitch to Israel that maybe we don't completely replace the Spanspec podcast with an all online podcast, but maybe do one in-person podcast per month and then one online one, or just depending on whatever the potential guests availability is. But part of the selling point of that podcast was that it was kind of, we'd try to make it the experience and serve everybody mezcal and stuff like that too. So it also works out for guests. Like, it's just better for guests. Like, a lot of the guests have usually busy schedules, so getting someone to physically show up at a location, especially if they live like out of town or something, is even not even necessarily out of town, just like say you got to drive from Fresno, that's still fucking long ways. But yeah. All right, let's steer this ship back towards women fighting in the cages. UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana is behind us. Nunes wins a unanimous decision, and she retains her bantamweight title, and then she retires as the double champion. She lays down her bantamweight championship and her featherweight championship, and goes down pretty unanimously, aside from at least one notable person in their opinion. She goes out and retires as the GOAT, and we'll get deep into her body of work and her accomplishments, and Brandon and I even actually talked about it on the regular Fight Plug podcast. That'd be a whole ass show right there. Yeah, we didn't. we did get more into it than I was expecting to, but it was one of those deals where it's like, okay, the female
Amanda
GOAT
Nunes.
just retired, a double champion, 2 titles. I have to get your opinion on it, but we'll save the real meat of it for the WMMA Fight Plug. But I gotta ask though, if we're gonna kind of like talk about this final fight with her and Aldana before we go and kind of get retrospective about Amanda Nunes, just looking at the title fight that we saw this past weekend, where would you say you jumped off the ship for Aldana? Like how soon into the fight were you like, oh, this is not what we needed to see from Irene to, you know, have any kind of faith that she's going to potentially pull this off?
Probably after the first round.
Didn't see, I would agree.
I want to say there was I think it was the first round, a moment where Aldana landed like a kind of like an overhand right as Nunes was kind of circling out,
Yeah.
and it looked like it clipped her on like the ear, or kind of like the head, and it, like, at first I thought she was rocked a little. I was like, oh shit, and then it was after that Aldana really never threw after that again. And
Yep.
and once she stopped throwing and was just, I don't know what happened. It was not a good fight for Aldana, I should say. It was a dominant performance, but it was not entertaining to watch, really. Yeah, and just as soon as she stopped throwing those punches, and you could tell she was like almost had that fear in her of Nunes is kind of like striking in power. Like, it was just a defensive shell all night, and you know, occasionally throwing a punch. I think it was like, what was it, like 160 to like 31
I'm glad
in
you were.
terms of significant strikes. And it's just like, yeah, she didn't do anything. She was in there to survive. I don't know.
I'm glad that you
It
remembered.
was a really weird performance.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered the strike differential because, yeah, I think
I don't know if that's the official number, but it was something like 160 or like 140 to like 31 or something like that.
Yeah, I would. It's like, to echo what you said a bit. Irene felt something in that first round that made her shut down even more. I mean, there wasn't. It's not like she had a lot of output in the first round either. It was just kind of, that was our first initial 5 minutes to get a sense of what she was going to bring into the fight, or the lack thereof. And yeah, I know exactly what moment you're talking about. It was toward the end of the first round. And that was a very impressive exchange where, I mean, I guess it wasn't an exchange because she dodged 3 punches from Amanda and then hit her with a hook. I don't remember on what side. I kind of remember it being on the left hook, but yeah, I would say that was probably a better strike than even Amanda really landed all
I mean, that
fight.
was the best strike she landed all night. So.
Yeah. And then, you know, the round ends and then it was just more of the same. Yeah, this is a really disappointing performance by Aldana because, I mean, I was picking Nunes and rooting for Aldana, but excuse me, I was picking Nunes and rooting for Aldana, but at some point you kind of just want to get the feeling or the sense that, like, even if they're going to get tore, I don't know, like, I don't want to say like, hey, put yourself in danger for my entertainment, but more like, convince me that you actually showed up today with the intention of becoming the champion.
That's true. Yeah. I don't recall, because I remember, I want to say Alexa Grasso and like the coaches were just like screaming in that fight, like yelling instructions, and she just would like not listen.
Yeah,
she was not listening to her corner at all.
Yeah, her coach, as the fight went on between rounds, but especially, you know, going into the 4th round, going into the championship rounds, essentially, when it was pretty much mathematically impossible for her to win a decision. Win. Yeah, they were really saying, hey, you need to go forward and you need to be offensive. It needs to happen now.
Yeah. And it's just always a little frustrating when you have that situation as well. I imagine as a coach, it's incredibly frustrating as well. To be given that instruction and have your fighter just kind of not be able to, I don't know, I don't know what the game plan was. I honestly don't. Like, going in there, I assume she wanted to strike with her and was looking for the knockout, but yeah, I really don't know what their whole plan was. Like, there was no game plan for her. It was just to survive, basically.
Yeah, and to see a fight unfold, like I don't want to. I mean, I don't want to come out and say
everywhere too. So
yeah, absolutely. And I don't, and the takedowns were free. I mean,
exactly, she could take it down whenever she wanted.
Yeah, I think I made a comment in the group chat on the night, which was pretty much that even if we had seen like the best Irene Aldana, and she was actually hanging with Amanda Nunes on the feet, or even if she showed up with a game plan and was getting the better of Amanda Nunes on the feet, Amanda's ability to take her down like she did would have always taken the fight over. Yeah. It was always going to be her Irene's undoing if it needed to be that. So. And
I think I had even called. I was like, I think Nunes shoots within like the first 2 or 3, and 2-3 minutes, and I think within 2 minutes, I think I called she was going to shoot, and with like 5 seconds to go, she took her down, and it wasn't like a takedown and I'm going to control you. It was I took you down this easy, so
yeah,
this is what's going to be there.
Yeah,
and I'm going to let you back up. So.
Yeah, I think I saw some people even saying that she was being merciful towards the end of the fight, when it just was so readily apparent that Aldana not only didn't have anything for her, but didn't seem to be attempting to kind of generate any meaningful offense. Some people were saying like she should have got her out of there, and it seemed like Amanda Nunes made the decision to start grappling, or even then, not even just grappling, but only grappling, and also not really pursuing any ground and pound, when positionally, there was no challenge there. Aldana was at her mercy, man. I wish I can give Irene more credit, and I wish I could have more faith in her moving forward, given that Amanda Nunes is leaving the division. You know what I mean? And Irene is going to be right there still, so I'm still going to be very curious to see what the matchmaking looks like for this division, and not to get away from the fight this early on, but just to kind of paint a picture about like how much I feel like this performance hurt Aldana's stock. And ultimately I don't know if it makes that much of a difference, because we've been critical of the bantamweight division, and it's not like there's a girl there who's really like leading the charge or has a resume that's like, listen, this is it. I mean, there's Raquel Pennington, of course. Irene Aldana could still kind of be in there. Everybody who's anybody is lost to Amanda Nunes in this division. But yeah, I think that until they kind of like do some reworking, take some of the new girls that they've signed into this division recently and kind of like work them up the rankings a bit, it's going to be hard to get excited for like some kind of like dark horse on the horizon for women's bantamweight.
The division is not looking that strong right now, honestly.
It's a wasteland.
I mean, your next title fight is probably going to be for the vacant, probably Pena versus Pennington.
So since we're talking about it, yeah, since we're talking about it, there are a lot of, I mean, yeah, that's not a fun fight. Like it literally just the aesthetics of that fight and how it plays out. It's not like one that I'm pegging to be a really exciting one, but I'd say there's interesting potential matchups, especially once it. Apparently, we both saw the post about Erin Blanchfield inserting herself into the conversation and saying, hey, let me fight somebody for a vacant title there. It's something that I hadn't considered, and I don't think it makes a whole ton of sense, but it's certainly something they can do, and it's certainly something I'd tune in for, because I wasn't really thinking about or coming out of this fight thinking that somebody else could potentially like carve a path towards being the next women's double champion or anything like that. Like I was really thinking like, damn, Amanda Nunes, nobody's going to do what you did for a while. And when you start to think about the logistics of it, and you got players like Shevchenko still out there who, now that she's not holding the flyweight title, she kind of has a little bit more freedom, you know what I mean? She can kind of play jazz a little bit as far as like who she wants to pick a fight with. If Valentina Shevchenko says, I'm fighting Pena for the vacant bantamweight belt, the UFC,
which is the best fight they can make at this point.
Yeah, the UFC is going to say, that can happen. We'll make that happen. I think I mean, we'll probably dedicate a whole chunk of time just to shitting on Juliana Pena, but I really think that right now is the time for anybody who basically wants to walk into a title shot. They need to be vocal and they need to speak up, and it's not like asking so much of them either. I mean, Juliana Pena has walked her way into like permanent contendership by just doing a Colby Covington impersonation and just being like the most unlikable person in the room at all times, and people will tune in to watch her lose, or because they're in on the trolling. But I think it's just a free title shot for whoever wants to speak up. And if Valentina Shevchenko hasn't already immediately said like, hey, put me in, coach, somebody else needs to be the first one to say it. And it's like, come on Pennington. I mean, what have you been in this sport for this long for? If this kind of opportunity is about to open up in front of you, you are one of the clear, if we're talking just meritocracy, Raquel Pennington should be on one side of the cage for a vacant title shot. And just nothing. Just mum is the word. Where are their managers, Mike? What? MMA needs more managers who aren't just in the UFC's pocket. Or is it backwards? The UFC's in their pocket. The UFC's in their pocket. Do you agree? Do you have a take on that?
Honestly, I think I didn't ever thought about the Blanchfield stuff.
I went off the rails. I'm starting to talk about like MMA management and shit, but
going back to Blanchfield and Chev, I do think that the best fighter in the bantamweight division isn't even in the division right now, and I do think it's going to be Valentina or potentially Blanchfield, like you said. I really do think bantamweight is that bad.
I think even Tyla Santos is in play. Depending on how things play out with her and her visa issues or whatever legal troubles that she might be having. She could be in there too. I mean, one thing I hadn't considered, and I don't mean to take up too much because I know you were about to go on and make some more points, but I didn't consider the idea that this could potentially weaken flyweight at the top of the flyweight division. Because I don't want that, but anyways, go on.
Let's see. I'm looking at MMA Junkie. Apparently, Raquel Pennington did make a post on Twitter. Nothing. She said, "Me versus Juliana got the world title. Dana always thought from Tough we would face each other at the finale. Wasn't the journey then, but here we are now." So, I mean, she called for the title shot. I don't know. It is kind of. It's only got 900 likes, so I don't know how many followers she. Let me check her Twitter.
I can't knock her for.
She has 85,000 followers and 900 likes on that. So,
that's rough. And I don't want to knock her for not having a lot of likes on her post. Although I was expecting you to say that she had even less followers than that. Because I think ultimately, like, who's following you is following you. But if you're at least willing to do your part, and that's, I stand corrected. She did make a post, so that's good. But still, do more.
It's not the best. It's honestly not the best way to call for a fight, I guess. Mm-mm. And I know. I want to. I don't remember who said it, but I know. A lot of times they do take into account social media interaction. If we're looking at a fighter that called for a title fight with about 85,000 followers that only gets 900 likes, is that fight really going to move the pay-per-view needle for the UFC? Like, is Raquel Pennington versus Pena a pay-per-view main event? In my opinion, no. Uh-huh. Is it a co-main event? Yes. But it's not a strong enough fight to kind of carry that. So I know Pennington wants that. It's probably, honestly, I think they should just do like a tournament, like not an official, like, because the UFC doesn't do official tournaments like Bellator said, but just get like 4 women, and have them fight, and then the winners of those fights fight the winners, and that's your new champ.
A tournament would be interesting.
But going on to managers, like, I don't know, like, what is it's hard because like when you think of someone like Ali, or that does a lot of talking for the fighters and doing like announcements, or oh, we want this, we want that, we want Canelo after this, or we're gonna fight Mayweather, blah blah blah. You get a lot of that, but like I don't know, if a manager is going to be able to sell the general public on a Pennington versus Pena fight. Like, yeah,
good point. Also, those kind of managers who are going to put in that much more effort aren't free either. It's something that I hadn't considered. Like, how much is Macy Chiasson making that she's going to find somebody who's just going to be this like, not making the kind of money that that Ali makes, but going that far out of his way, or that's not exactly something you can just expect from every manager and in every level, that's affordable. So
I'm looking at Pennington's record too. I don't know. It's just the division, man.
You had an interesting take on the day of also, though.
I don't remember.
You mentioned, this fight is booked, so this is one that everyone's going to be looking at closely, but there's Mayra Bueno Silva and Holly Holm. They're scheduled to fight on July 15th. Mayra Bueno Silva is riding a 3-fight winning streak. Holly Holm, a 1-fight winning streak, and she had taken some time off. She'd been a bit inactive since 2020. She fought twice in 2020. Took 2021 off. I'm not sure if there was any injuries there.
Yeah, she fought.
Lost to
she lost to Vieira, right?
Caitlin Vieira in 2022.
Yeah. But I think that was a BS decision, if I recall. I want to say I think Holm won that. At least I think I remember I had it, but
it was hard. I think there was a little bit of controversy in the scoring, but it was the way the fight was. It was really hard to be so worked up about it because it was all clinching up against the cage.
I think because I do remember, because I think it was close, because I think in the next fight when Vieira fought, who did Vieira fight? Was it Pennington?
Vieira fought Raquel Pennington, yes.
And she lost that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I picked against her that after the Holly Holm fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to go back on verdict and check, but
but yeah, it's Holly Holm. I think Holly Holm is. I'm not really going to try and figure out why or pretend to know about like what's the word I'm looking for, her statistics, whatever, who the demographics that she appeals to, but she's definitely shown to be someone that the UFC at least likes to get behind promotionally, and they give her a lot of opportunities. She's a kind of a Cowboy Cerrone of this division.
Yeah, I mean, she's a name, and she's always good. I mean, casual fans know her.
She's a former champion. She has that win over Ronda Rousey, which is always going to be a feather in her cap.
And that's why people know her too.
Yeah,
people know Holly Holm was the one that beat Ronda Rousey. She's done everything for the UFC. Yeah, she's been in multiple title fights. I truly do think she's the biggest name in the division right now. Well, now that Nunes is gone, like if you were to go ask like there's people that don't really follow MMA, like I think if they're gonna name any fighter, it's probably gonna be Holly Holm. I don't think anyone's really picking anyone outside of that top 15.
I'm looking at the top 15 on. Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, it's not even close.
And so if you throw Holly Holm's name on top of a pay-per-view versus say Holm versus Pena or Holm versus Shevchenko, now you got a pay-per-view that's definitely going to move some numbers.
Mm-hmm. Even a fight night main event, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a vacant featherweight a vacant bantamweight belt is gonna be on a fight night. I imagine it'll be reserved for either a pay-per-view co-main event or potentially a UFC on ABC.
Looking at it now and considering that matchup, and the obvious contender in Rocky Pennington sitting there, we know the UFC is going to insert Juliana Pena. We can almost guarantee Juliana Pena is going to be fighting for it. It's all about who she's going to be fighting. Yeah,
it's basically Pena versus who right now.
Yeah, I think if looking at it now and stop myself from getting too into like the fun ideas that people are throwing around about Valentina Shevchenko or Erin Blanchfield moving up or something like that, if you just kind of let things play out in this division with what they have right now, yeah, it's not going to revitalize the division. I don't think anything is right now, but you can actually make the whole situation, timing wise, I haven't really considered it, but if you just do Juliana Pena versus Raquel Pennington, then have the winner of Holly Holm and Mayra Bueno Silva fight the winner of that fight, and then you can have Irene Aldana fight Ketlin Vieira, I suppose. I need to check and see if they've already fought. They probably have already fought.
They probably have fought. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they fought in 2019.
Been a while that you could run a rematch,
I suppose. Jermaine Durandamy is out there. She's still.
I thought she was retired. I had to ask you if she was still active or not. I don't know what's going on with her right now. So
yeah, she's still signed to the UFC, and like I said, I think some time back she had made it sound like she'd all but decided she was going to retire, and she. I would have to look for some articles, but I know for sure that at one point she said my next fight will be my last fight, and then that next fight just didn't happen, and then I think she had an injury.
Yeah, she had a fight scheduled, and it got canceled.
Yeah,
and her last win was the Pena win.
Yeah, and now it sounds like her plans are to kind of work her way back and get back into the mix, and maybe still 1 or 2 fights away from retirement, but not being as open about it as she was before. I think if
okay. 1 second. In September 2022, Durandamy announced she was pregnant with the couple's first child.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
You
know who her last win was?
So that's why she's been out.
You know
that was Pena.
Yeah, she guillotined Pena, which is
the striker sub the grappler,
which is Pena's most embarrassing loss, man. Golly. So yeah, I think none of what I proposed with just letting the divisions matchups play out are very sexy, or something that's going to stir things up or get exciting headlines like a dominant flyweight moving up. But I think they can, as long as they do their due diligence with the matchmaking down, outside of the top 10, to kind of start trying to actually legitimately build some girls up and get this division going, they have a title fight. They have contenders that they could line up. It can just keep on going. Featherweight, on the other hand, is donezo. And
I think Dana already said it's done.
Yeah. At the post-fight presser, they asked him what the status of the division will be, or they straight up asked him, is it likely that this division goes away? And he just said probably yes, which is about as clear an answer as you can get.
I mean, it's never had a top 10 since that's been around, so
yeah.
That thing was made for Cyborg, so
fingers crossed that they say, okay, we're trimming the featherweight division and let's sign some fucking Japanese girls and do this atomweight division, man. That would
atomweight would be cool, but I really don't see them adding another division.
Here's why I'm pretty convinced that they will. I just don't know how fast that would happen. And I think if it was going to happen, we would probably already start to hear rumblings about it in the form of them signing atomweights, but
yeah, I just don't think it's like a division either. That's like,
I think with as many,
it's really like a, I don't know. I just don't think atomweight is like, as much as I would like to see it. I just don't think it's a division that really brings much to the table for the average UFC fan.
I mean, but look at the quality of the average UFC card as it is. I don't think they're worried so much about I think they need quantity right now. And with the amount of cards that they're putting on week in, week out, I mean, we are right at the beginning of a 4-month stretch of every weekend UFC cards. And you're losing a title to put on cards to kind of stretch out the title fights throughout the year. I think that they definitely consider, I think somewhere in a room they're considering atomweight because they need another title to put on cards.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I stand by my thing that they're not doing atomweight because it's not a thing for the casual UFC fan. And honestly, I don't know. I don't think there's definitely some names that will probably cut down. I think someone like Jin Yu Fry, who's obviously a natural atomweight. but had to move up when the UFC and hasn't had much success since having to move up. Like, it would obviously be good for girls like her.
Loma
But at the
Luke and me.
yeah, but at the same time, they're really pushing the BMF belt again. So, I don't think.
I didn't consider that. That's a good point.
And so you have that. Now Volk was calling for a BMF belt fight, and it's starting to kind of like be a thing now.
Yeah.
And I think before you even see Atomweight, I think you have a higher chance of seeing a women's BMF belt before you see an Atomweight belt.
Yeah. I
Do I
don't
think they'll do it? No, but I think you would see it before
it's
you
more
ever see Atomweight.
it's just more likely in general. Yeah. Which and more like if you're saying that Atomweight won't happen, that's just saying like more likely than 0, which could also be like 0.5%. Yeah. But I
mean, never say never with fucking
mhm.
any of these things, because there's always a chance. But
Mhm.
right now, if you were to ask me, like, I don't see it coming.
Yeah, not in the cards for Mike. That's fair. I think that's just as likely too. I mean, the UFC is slow to act on a lot of things like this, as far as bringing in new divisions. I mean, it might not be slow to act on things that people think about, like the day to day, as far as running a fight organization or fight promotion, booking fights, or especially to give the UFC some credit, also calling audibles at the last second and getting replacement fighters and stuff like that. And we've seen, I don't know if we've talked about this before on the regular Fight Plug, but I mean, we've seen organizations come and go and die because of a failed card or because one half of a main event drops out. Like the UFC is just so established and so insulated and just is sitting on such a pile of money that they can really make moves like that. And the bad part about it is that they're not pressured to maintain like as much of a baseline quality across all of their cards.
And I'm also gonna say this to put it into perspective. If we take a look at the Invicta FC Atomweight division, they only have 12 Atomweight fighters.
Here's the thing, though. I get that. I think that you need to dangle a carrot, because I kind of thought that I wasn't going to be the one to bring that up because I wasn't thinking about it, but I do think that it is a little bit of one of those, if you build it, they will come sort of deals. Like WMMA got a lot bigger when the UFC brought those divisions in too. I think as long as the biggest organization on the face of the planet doesn't have a division for you to fight in, girls who would be pursuing that or getting into, the smaller girls who would be kind of chasing that dream or, chasing those potential paydays, I think you're going to start to see a lot more, and you'll see a lot more girls who are fighting at 115, like you mentioned, cut down and be like, okay, cool, now they have my division. I think the numbers would be bolstered by the UFC introducing that division.
Yeah.
Not overnight, certainly, and that is a fair point, though. It's not like Invicta has the most extensive division, but I think they're operating on a much tighter budget. I mean,
when I think of Atomweight, like that's what I think of. Like that's the Atomweight division that I know. I'm sure like maybe ONE FC or Ryzen or something has some Atomweights, but it's not something that I watch frequently enough to actually like talk about. So. Like my knowledge of Atomweight comes from Invicta FC.
That's a good point too, because over here,
Atomweight fight?
No.
Okay, I didn't know.
But that is a really good point though, because I am sitting here just imagining all of these hypothetical like lighter weight, like Japanese WMMA fighters or Thai girls that are just going to come out of nowhere and just make up a division. But you tell me to sit here and name current atomweight fighters, and I'm going to find a way to change the subject. So so that's a good point too. Like I can kind of just like speculate all I want about this, there being this untapped well of like quality atomweight fighters out there, but I think I'm more just going based off of my opinion that the women's strawweight division has been the most dominant division, or been the best or most talent rich division in WMMA quietly, maybe, and just associating lighter weight WMMA fighters with just better fighters, period. So
let me pull up.
All right, well, so long, Amanda Nunes. Thanks for all the fish. Man, what a career. She beat pretty much every other champion above 135 pounds.
Yeah, she beat everyone that there is. The only person she never fought was Kayla Harrison.
Yep.
But I mean, she had the chance. But then Kayla Harrison went and lost to fucking Pacheco.
She fought everybody that she absolutely could. Every quality name that you could throw at her, whatever the UFC had at their disposal. She fought. She has 2 wins over Valentina Shevchenko before.
Beat Cyborg.
Yeah, she beat Cyborg. She knocked Cyborg out. She's the
Cyborg
only person who's beat Cyborg.
Exactly.
Like,
no
Cyborg is flawless outside of that.
Cyborg is still dominating everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a fight I would have loved to see again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because Cyborg fought dumb in that fight. I mean, they both did. Cyborg could have just as easily caught Nunes because they both just immediately said we're fucking going for it. Which, in retrospect, like, I don't know, like, thanks, I guess. Because, I mean, we're not going to sit here and pretend that that's not entertaining and that's like, fuck, wouldn't it be cool if they just went for it? But I feel like, yeah, it was such a chaotic short fight. We don't know how that fight could have really been if both girls had been patient and came out and worked a game plan, man. I mean, everything could have been so different. I don't know, has Cyborg ever fought it? Did she ever get down to 135 ever?
No, she's only ever fought a featherweight. She's a Bellator featherweight champ.
I wonder how different things would have been, or if things would have been cooler if Cyborg had won that fight and she just remained the featherweight champ, and you just had them. She was running a featherweight division, and I wonder if they would have actually put more effort into the featherweight division and just kind of bringing in a steady flow of girls for Cyborg to fight. I mean, fuck, give me Cyborg versus Norma Dumont right now. Like, give me all of that, man.
That's not something that interests me too much.
Well, if it's like her and Josiana Nunes are like the only viable girls there, and it's like, make the move, just do the thing with them already. Like,
yeah,
book them, just make the fight that matters, and let's do away with this. Anyways, I'm not here to kind of speculate on how to keep featherweight on life support. Let it die, let it die, let it die. I feel so negative to say let it die. It's fucked up. Yeah. Okay. So you told me right before we started recording, you didn't get a chance to see the Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Miranda Maverick fight.
No, I didn't.
I watched that one, and to kind of give my recap, Miranda Maverick really looked like she was never able to figure out the distance and the timing of Jasmine Jasudavicius. I've seen Miranda have better striking output than what she showed in this fight. And watching this, I was kind of surprised at the size difference, and not like Jasmine Jasudavicius looked noticeably bigger than Miranda Maverick in her frame, her height, and she just looked thicker. I don't know what she weighed walking to the cage, but I think that definitely had an impact on the fight. And not making excuses for Miranda either. I mean, they weighed in at the same, so fuck it. I'm not one to be like, oh, this guy's a size bully or this girl's a size bully. I mean, there's sacrifices to that, and those weight cuts are a lot harder. So, she just beat Miranda to the punch in every facet of the game. We didn't really get to see. I don't recall how much. Or if there was an extensive periods of control time. I don't remember. I kind of remember this whole fight playing out on the feet, and Jasmine Jasudavicius just really working a good jab, and Miranda Maverick just not really being able to figure it out and not being able to take Jasudavicius down. In the few instances where she did take her down, I think she was reversed pretty quickly. So, for me, and you mentioned, you didn't watch it, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this fight. I think it's time for me to start reassessing kind of like my outlook on Miranda Maverick, because I had kind of like held on for a while that I thought that she was going to be like a top 5 flyweight over time, not necessarily anytime soon, and that may still be. She's kind of like a win 2 lose 1 type of momentum in the UFC. So it's not exactly a death blow to her career. But I wasn't super high on Jasmine Jasudavicius either coming into this fight. So yeah, it's more just an adjustment fight for me. But Jasmine Jasudavicius enters the top 15 with that win, as Miranda Maverick was ranked number 15. I don't know if I agree with that. Just coming from the angle of like, I don't necessarily think you should just automatically take someone's ranking depending on how close you were to them. Obviously, if you were ranked number 10 and you fought the number 8 fighter and you beat them, sure, just slot that number 10 person in that number 8, move number 8 back. But if you were like, I don't know, if you were like 17 and you fought number 10, maybe number 17 should just move up to number fucking, I don't know, split the difference, number 12 or something like that.
You want to know some bullshit, dude?
Is that Natalia Silva beat Jasmine Jasudavicius and she's not in the top 15?
Not ranked. Yeah, that's some fucking bullshit, dude. Like, how is a win over fucking Miranda Maverick better than fucking everything Natalia Silva's been doing? Mm-hmm. Like, literally tell me when she got absolutely dominated by her.
Yeah,
like, it's so fucking stupid, dude. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I had a problem with that too, and I've seen some people say, well, Miranda Maverick has more quality wins. You know, she was top 15 for a reason, or no, well, that Jasmine Jasudavicius has more quality wins, including Miranda Maverick. But I'm sorry, have Natalia Silva fight Shanna Young and Sabina Mazo, and I think she beats those girls too. So, yeah, that's a tough one, I guess.
You could tell they definitely want to put. They've been wanting to push Jasmine since she showed up, and they were so like fucking high on her for that Silva fight. But Silva obviously ruined that for them.
Yeah.
So, and I think, I don't know. It's stupid.
And going back to kind of what I was saying about like the bantamweight title picture and how girls should just speak up, like stake your claim. Credit to Jasmine Jasudavicius, because I'm not over on her. Like, I don't really think I'm just not super impressed by her as a fighter. She's not bad or anything like that, but she didn't pass the eye test for me. But yeah, I don't think she's like I don't know. I just don't think she's as hot of a prospect as she is.
I don't think she's top 5. I don't think she's future champ. I think she's top 15, top 10 maybe.
But promotionally, I see her trying. I see her going out of her way, and I see I see her pop up in a lot of interviews, and I've watched a couple of them, and I see her. She's definitely not doing the Juliana Pena playbook. She's not trying to be just the most fucking abhorrent person for attention, but she's trying to be colorful. You could tell she's not being herself.
No, definitely. That's why I didn't like her coming into that Natalia Silva fight.
Yeah,
because you could definitely tell there's like a gimmick going on.
Yeah,
it's gimmick's a gimmick, but like everybody's rocking the same gimmick.
Yeah, and but yeah, and just a testament to how little you have to do to get kind of favorable. I mean, I guess someone could argue like, were they doing her favors matching her up with Miranda Maverick, because Miranda was a pretty. Let me see what the odds were on that fight, because I believe Miranda was a pretty heavy favorite.
Yeah, she was a favorite.
Miranda Maverick was okay, not by crazy amount, but they had her.
I don't think it was crazy. Yeah,
negative minus 250, moderate favorite, but it was enough that apparently Miranda Maverick was getting death threats because of this, which immediately tells me that okay, people lost money on Miranda Maverick. I don't understand how that translates into let me go fucking give this person death threats. Like, come on, if you're making bets, that's on you, guy. Like. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, there's an interesting fight. Jasmine Jasudavicius, number 15, to kind of like combo this into some news that we shared earlier. We saw that Natalia Silva is booked again very, very quickly against Andrea Lee, and that fight is for August. I don't have.
What's that? Is Andrea Lee ranked? I don't think. Is KGB? I don't think she is. Oh, she's number 13. Okay, so she's getting a higher ranked fight at least. So if she does win, she'll at least be ranked higher. But
and you're looking at the actual UFC rankings.
Yeah, I'm looking at UFC rankings.
Okay, I'm almost always looking at the Tapology rankings. I forget to pull up the UFC rankings. It only goes up to 15, huh? So
yeah, and KGB Lee just recently lost to Macy Barber too. So.
I'm looking to see where they have. Where's Natalia Silva on the flyweight rankings?
So while you're looking that up, I know this is the WMMA show.
Oh, I'm looking at Bantamweight. I'm a dumb bitch.
We have another breaking news. We have on August 19th in Boston, Henry Cejudo versus Chito Vera, UFC 292.
Oh, that's a softball for Henry Cejudo. That's okay. Yeah, they're gonna keep. He's gonna stick around. I think he walks right through Chito Vera. I don't think Chito Vera has the defensive wrestling or just defensive grappling period to hang with them. And I wouldn't have been as confident in saying that if that was his first fight back. But seeing how he was able to go with Aljamain Sterling, that kind of put it into context for me, like what Henry Cejudo is still capable of. And unless Chito Vera's takedown defense is crazy good out of nowhere, and that fight takes even on the feet. Actually, I'm not thinking that's a very good one for Chito Vera at all.
We'll leave that one for you and Brandon to break down.
Hey, you're breaking news on our program.
I'm breaking the news. I'm not breaking it down.
You can if you want. It's cool.
That was 8 minutes ago. So.
All right. Well, don't break it down. But who's your
Dana White as well? So.
Who's your initial pick? Without a breakdown, Cejudo. Okay. All right.
But I do think it's a fun fight. So.
Let me
brings us to our last fight.
Let me push this back button here. And
you probably should have
started
with this because, like,
it's not a whole lot left to talk about. Yeah. For recaps, I kind of feel like you have to start with like the biggest fight, but Diana Belbita, Maria Oliveira. Maria Oliveira has since been cut for this performance.
I will say, like, I know I picked Oliveira. I don't know if I confused her with someone else, or I don't know what I was thinking. That was one of the worst calls by me. That was such a sad fight to watch. Like,
I haven't made you eat enough crow. I'm just remembering this. Like on the night of, I was like, I kept keeping track of the score, and just a little peek behind the veil or behind the curtain a little bit for listeners. I picked Amanda Nunes over Aldana, and on the day of, I switched my pick to Aldana with Mike just in our chat, and I was like, hey, I'm switching to Aldana. And then like an hour later, or maybe a few hours later, but before the fight, I switched back to Amanda Nunes. So I'm still going with the score. I went 2-1, you went 1-2. Our overall scores since we started this program, I'm now 4-3, and you are 5-2.
5-2.
Yeah, so I'm one behind you. But yeah, man. I don't even know if I expected Maria Oliveira to look this bad either. But I think
it was just terrible. She did not deserve to be in there.
Yeah, but I guess I kind of thought that Diana Belbita would take her down, and this fight would probably play out a little bit more on the ground. But no, it was kind of just a charge forward and swing by Belbita, and just not have any of the defensive. I don't even know if I'd call it skills, but what's the word I'm looking for? Instincts. Yeah. It was really weird. Maria Oliveira with just super planted, and
I don't like to shit on fights and stuff like that, but this was a really low level fight.
Yeah, it was.
This was not, in my opinion, a UFC caliber fight. It was a regional MMA fight to me.
LFA level.
Yeah. This was not the skills on display in this fight from both fighters. Like I said, I don't feel they were UFC caliber at all. I can't pick Belbita in any fight moving forward unless it's an absolute softball that they throw to her. Even with an opponent like Oliveira that just looked so bad. Like had nothing in that fight. Mm-hmm. When you're still kind of like having that not close fight, but when you're still like kind of almost really giving it your all, and like still kind of barely coming away with that win. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see, like, that was a loser leave town fight for both fighters, and I can easily see Belbita losing her next fight and being cut as well. I mean, it's a good, she got the win, but if you ask me to break it down and be like, was that a great performance? What do we see that looked good?
Not particularly. No.
Not particularly much.
Yeah.
Like it was like I said, it wasn't a UFC caliber fight to me.
Yeah. I think I have a good fight for Diana Belbita for her next fight, and I think I don't know where the UFC. I mean, I guess the UFC just isn't thinking about rankings outside of number 15. But Tapology has Belbita at number 30, which I think is fair, looking at some of the names around her. And I think a fight. I've been really, really wanting to see the return of a girl who made her debut. And she lost her debut, a Mexican fighter named Super Meli Martinez. I think that would be a really, really fun fight. I think she lost to Elise Reed. Meli Martinez. There it is. Yeah, she's 7-1. And she lost her debut to Elise Reed, but I know there's not really much I could say to sell you on this fight if you haven't seen Super Meli fight, but I just think their styles complement each other really well, and they both kind of have. She's similar to Belbita in that they're both just going to throw. I think that it'd be a solid win for either of them. But anyways, yeah, just kind of thinking out loud there and what kind of matchmaking I'd like to see for them moving forward. She was, oh damn, Super Meli Martinez was booked against Yasmin Lucindo in April. Fuck, that would have been a tough fight for her.
Did it fall through or something?
Yeah, it got canceled.
Okay.
Martinez withdrew, so she might have an injury or something. But anyways, yeah, that's our recap of those 3 fights. And let me take a look and kind of refresh my memory.
Or was that 292?
That was 289.
289, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Inching closer to 300.
Ahead of us, UFC Fight Night, Vettori versus Cannonier. There is one WMMA fight on the card between Teresa Bleda and Gabriela Fernandez. I pulled up a few of. It's kind of hard to find Gabriela Fernandez's fights.
I don't know her, and I just know Bleda for getting fucking destroyed by Silva. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's a tough one to go by. Gabriela Fernandez, and some of the highlights that I pulled up or what I was able to find of her, she actually looks pretty impressive, at least on the feet. And Teresa Bleda, I think she's a better grappler than a striker, and I think she didn't really get much of a chance to show that in that fight with Natalia Silva. It just wasn't happening there. She got pieced up on the feet, never took the fight where she needed it to be.
That's right. Fucking Teresa Bleda's nickname is also Rhonda, and I was like, I think when I found that out, I immediately was rooting against her. Though, don't ever fucking nickname yourself after another fighter's first name, dude.
Be your own person. Yeah. That's funny. I did not see that. There's like a string of Europe.
Kenny fucking naming himself after like Kenny Stipe Gonzalez or something like that. Like, what the fuck?
And then we also have Russian Ronda up at Bantamweight too. The girl who like blew weight a few weeks back in her debut. Something about Eastern European girls having some obsession with Ronda. I wonder if it has. I feel like I liken it to Brazilian fighters and their choice of nicknames. It's okay. This is a dumb comparison because Ronda was the most famous, female WMMA fighter ever. And but yeah, we're seeing her kind of like show up in people's nicknames, whereas with Brazilian fighters, Squidward is a very popular nickname. I don't know why, or just SpongeBob character or related nicknames in general. I don't know why that made me think about that. I've been ripping the pen too hard. Anyways, I'm picking Teresa Bleda. I think she's gonna take Gabriela Fernandez down, and she doesn't want to deal with what Gabby Fernandez has to offer on the feet. Because if you want when you have a chance, or right now, YouTube Gabriela Fernandez. There's not too much out there on her, but there's.
I saw the Fernandez versus. I want to say I saw the Fernandez versus Jesuda Vicious fight.
I was looking for that one specifically because that's the most relevant one. It's a
and
UFC fight.
I saw the Blade versus Silva fight. So both of my fights, I've seen them both get bodied. So
yeah, they're both coming off of losses right now. So yeah.
Also, last bit of breaking news before we sign this. That's not really breaking news, but it's just following up on something up earlier. Jermaine Durandamine actually targets summer octagon return following 3-year hiatus. This was on June 10th. I guess she came out with an interview.
There we go.
So she's back in the gym right now and wants to return by the end of the summer. Eurosport Netherlands tweeted,
if you're Dana White and Jermaine Durandamine says, "This is my fucking division. Give me Juliana Pena," do you make that fight?
No, I don't think you can.
I think she has I think she has an argument.
She has an argument for it, but she's been out 3 years. I mean, granted, that is her last win as well. But she's been out 3 years. A lot of the fans probably forgot about her or probably thought she retired. Hell, I had to ask you if she retired.
Yeah.
And the only reason I found that news right now because I was browsing SureDog, and there was a thread that said, "What happened to Jermaine Durandamine?"
Mm-hmm.
And about the fourth post was that news article.
I think whoever
she's coming back.
I think whoever posted that also posted that on Reddit at almost like the exact same time because I saw like the same post on Reddit. I think GDR is probably going to get in there a lot sooner than we think, and I'm only saying that because she's 39. And I mean Holly is like 40 or 41 too, so this division is getting so old. But I think if she wants it, I think the UFC knows that she can at least be kind of exciting on the feet. She's a really good striker. Okay. And
3 years is a long time though too, so yeah, she might want to take another fight too before. So.
Yeah. But I think that if the UFC is dead set on installing Juliana Pena as like champion somehow, I think that,
which I don't really think they are.
I think they're interested in giving her the opportunity. I don't think she's good enough.
They will, but I don't think they really want her as a champion though.
Maybe not. Yeah, I don't really know. I can't confidently predict like what they want out of that division. Regardless, though, I really just don't think she's good enough to remain champion. Even if I'm not picking her against Raquel Pennington.
There's no fights in that division that I'd actually favor her in. Off the top of my head, I'm not looking at the rankings right now, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a fight that she would be favorited in my book. You
want me to throw out like I'm looking at the Bantamweight division right now. You want me to just kind of throw out names and you can give me your impulse like, no, she wouldn't beat her. No, she wouldn't beat her. She wouldn't.
No, give me a second. I know something easier. The suspense is killing everybody.
It gives me nothing to do either.
Let's see, Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena could probably beat Miesha Tate, and that's it.
Okay, yeah, I agree on that.
I don't have zero faith in Miesha Tate, but everybody else, I think she loses to.
Juliana Pena
I even think she loses to Yana Santos.
Fuck, I was about to say I think she could beat Yana Santos. Yeah, I think she can beat Yana Santos, and I think she can also beat Irene Aldana.
Aldana's not going to stop the takedown.
Oh yeah, Aldana's that bad on the ground. It seems like.
But then again, how good are Juliana Pena's takedowns actually?
Not great, and
exactly.
And
if she does want to oblige her in that brawl with her level of striking, I don't think it's going to end well for her.
And Juliana Sus.
She comes in with her head up, straight up, fucking just throwing. I mean, you all seen the fucking gif or the video of her getting dropped in that second fight with just those ugly winging punches and head straight up in the air, just getting bodied.
Yep.
I could see the same thing happening with Aldana.
Yeah.
And Aldana just having to stop desperation takedowns after she gets rocked, or after Pena gets rocked.
My magic wand pick for how I would want things to play out I would say, just if I'm gonna just go with favoritism and pick my favorite fighter, like the fighter I don't even know if I'd say she's my favorite fighter, but the fighter I'm most intrigued with across WMMA right now is Erin Blanchfield, and I would get really excited if she actually did insert herself into a fight with, say, Juliana Pena for the bantamweight title. I'd be like, fuck.
I'm all over that fight.
Yeah.
I love that fight.
I mean, I had Erin Blanchfield pegged for being the future featherweight champion. So, I mean, yeah, if as unlikely as I think that is, and as much as I think that they'll actually just end up going with the boring decision, which is what I propose, to just let the bantamweight let the bantamweight division just play out. There's a path for someone like Erin Blanchfield or Valentina Shevchenko. I'm not just excluding any other people, but there's a path for her to become a double champion. There's a path for Valentina to become a double champion with this bantamweight title just kind of hanging there, and it makes me think like all of the a lot of the conversation surrounding Amanda Nunes stepping away from the sport is like, no one's going to be able to do what she did. No one's going to be able to be a double champion. But now we're seeing like that might happen sooner than later, but they have to get the defenses. Like it's not just getting there, it's staying there. And I think that's going to be the big difference maker. Credit to Amanda Nunes for staying there like she did and remaining champion and reigning for as long as she did, also because and also not getting boring during her title reign, like not becoming like a super conservative, careful fighter. I mean, she definitely had some decisions that weren't like, you know, the funnest decisions, but we really always did get the sense that she was trying to get everyone out of there. Like she didn't start playing it safe against anybody, and I think to stay a champion for a long time, you kind of have to do that. Like we've seen that from a lot of other long reigning champions too, where they start to, I don't want to say fight to not lose, but I mean, that's your payday right there. And you're always facing ideally the next best person who's been like building their entire career out of trying to take you out. So it's just always going to get harder. So you have to, you know, being at the top of the hill, like you have to just think about your body more and just think about having a good game plan and just practicing some form of self-preservation for your career. So and Amanda Nunes, she took on all challengers, and I can't say that she ever had to do that. She was really just was out there to try and prove that she was the best at all times. All right, that's been another episode of the WMMA Fight Plug. Are we done?
I mean, I think it covered everything.
All right. Yeah, that's it. Cool, man. We will. Okay. One last thing, and I'll let you go. But I guess let's look ahead and see when the next ideal card for us to make an episode for is going to be.
I don't think there's a big WMMA fight like down the pipe for a little bit.
I'm just pulling up UFC on ABC5.
There's no scheduled title fights in it right now.
No title fights, but Tabitha Ricci versus Jillian Robertson. We're going to be talking about that one. But that's the only. Oh no, and then we have Amanda Hebos and Macy Barber on that card also. We can make we can make an episode out of that. That's going to be on the 24th. So yeah, we'll do. I'll understand if you maybe for whatever reason don't want to do a pre-fight breakdown episode for that one, but we will 100% at least do an unplugged. Yes. Yeah. By the way, this is the first edition of the WMMA Fight Plug Unplugged. No, the
So what's the name of it? What's the show? It's what?
It's the WMMA Fight Plug, which is just
the WMMA Fight Plug.
So wordy.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is basically what, 282? You said
282 for the card. 289. Dude, you're so off.
289. This is basically UFC 289 Unplugged, because we're the Fight Plug podcast, so we decided to call the breakdowns now instead of the breakdown to call it Unplugged.
And that is the best contribution that anybody, including me and Brandon, have done for the Fight Plug Network. That's a really, really good naming right there. That's why I was kind of leaning on you guys to come up with a couple of the episode titles for this last round of episodes, even though I ended up putting them on there also. But
episode titles are hard.
It's tough, yeah, because it's every week. It's something new. In fact, I'm not sure what I'm going to call this one, but I'm going to try and have it up soon. So if you're listening to this, we hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for joining us on the latest episode of the WMMA Fight Plug. If you have any, let us know in the comments who you'd like to see challenge for the Bantamweight title. If you're like us and you have no life and you have an opinion about those things. Otherwise, we will see you on the next episode of the WMMA Fight Plug. That's not a lot of words. It's totally normal. Bye.